same lines, positive thinking. It is a #1 bestseller. Some of the experts cited in The Secret are speaking at the Learning Annex Wealth Expos with me. I firmly believe in the power of positive thinking. The lessons in the power of positive thinking really stuck with me. In every deal I do, my main job is to be positive, even when everybody else is negative and gloomy. When I bought an option on the West Side properties from Penn Central in the 70s, everybody in the city was gloomy. Every day, headlines in the papers told of bankruptcies and financial collapses of every kind. Nobody knew if the city was even going to survive. But I stayed positive, and I went around the city talking to people and convincing them to be positive. Bankers, city officials, architects, and contractors. I gave them the hope that things would ultimately work out. As the developer, that is my job. The power of negative thinking. I also believe in the power of negative thinking. You have to think negatively sometimes. It's sort of like putting up your guard. You need to protect yourself against all the negative forces out there in the world. Whether you like it or not, there are wars, tsunamis, hurricanes, tornadoes, and bad people. So I practice the power of positive thinking while doing all I reasonably can to protect myself from the bad things. Here's an example of my negative thinking. When I bought the Commodore Hotel from Penn Central, I was not naive. I knew there were risks. If I failed, the deal would bury me. From the very beginning, I tried to keep my risks and my financial exposure to a minimum. I was not such a positive thinker that I opened myself up to unnecessary dangers. I kept everybody who was involved in making the deal, the bankers, Penn Central, and the city, believing that I was the best chance they had to renovate the old dilapidated building and revitalize the entire neighborhood without my having to risk any hard cash. Finally, we arrived at a deal in which I got an exclusive option to purchase the property for $10 million, subject to the city granting me a tax abatement, and me finding financing and a management company to run the hotel. The price of the option was $250,000. I did not have $250,000 that I wanted to risk on this deal. I drew up the contract, but did not fork over the $250,000. Instead, I had my lawyers find lots of legal points to argue back and forth, while I was busy trying to put the rest of the deal together. Be positive, but never go out on a limb for some pie-in-the-sky idea that may or may not pan out. A truly positive mental attitude is when you are good at what you do, and you are prepared for every possibility, both positive and negative. You can boost your positive mental attitude by being thoroughly prepared, but you cannot expect to be successful 100% of the time, no matter whether you are in business, finance, real estate, management, medicine, or science. And if you are not prepared for a negative result, a few minor setbacks, the loss of a promotion, or a deal falling through, such an experience will cause you an unnecessary amount of confusion and doubt. Both a positive mental attitude and a good work ethic are important in creating your own luck, but you cannot rely solely on them. The real-life truth is that deals do not always close. You do not always land the new account. You do not always win the lawsuit. You do not always get the promotion. Your patients do not always recover, and the people you deal with are not always honest. There are always circumstances beyond your control. The only way to guard against having your confidence shattered is to come to grips with the stark reality that negative things can and do happen. Count on it. Be prepared for it. Realize that it is life, and that it has nothing to do with you or your abilities. Do not let it shake your self-confidence one iota. Zanker's take. In 1982, An amazing stroke of luck pushed the Learning Annex into the big time real fast. On Thursday, March 11th, 1982, I discovered that the Learning Annex had enrolled our 100,000th student. I wanted to celebrate this momentous event by throwing 10,000 $1 bills off the top of the Empire State Building. It was my way of giving back to the community and getting some much-needed publicity. Despite being severely undercapitalized, I decided to take a big chance. My colleagues and I got as many dollar bills as we could at the bank and pasted a label on each bill which read, "The Learning Annex loves New York." Then we told all the news media and TV stations about our plan to throw $10,000 off the Empire State Building, starting at 1 p.m. on Friday, March 12th. They loved this story and alerted all of New York about this incredible way to get some free money. It caught everyone's attention, so that Thursday afternoon, we stuffed 10,000 $1 bills into 2 huge clear garbage bags, and the next day we trekked over to the Empire State Building to pass out all the loot. The city had blocked off 34th Street, and thousands of people showed up to collect their money, along with television crews, reporters, photographers, and a squadron of cops to keep order. But 30 minutes before we got to the Empire State Building, 2 men decided to rob the Bankers Trust branch located on the ground floor of the building. The 2 robbers entered the bank, vaulted the counter, scooped up a pile of money in garbage bags, and fled. When they exited the bank, they were greeted by an amazing spectacle. Thousands of bystanders, camera crews, reporters, police officers, and store detectives. The men ran through the crowd, pursued by a bank guard and several plainclothes officers, shouting, "Hold up! Hold up!" Both suspects were quickly apprehended and arrested. That is when we showed up, with the 2 big garbage bags full of our money. We made our way into the lobby of the building, but authorities wouldn't let us go up the elevator and refused to let us dump our precious cargo. I tried to reason with them, saying, "As far as I know, it's not a crime." They wouldn't budge. So, here we were, walking around the crowded lobby, holding 2 huge bags of money over our heads, with people pressing in from all sides trying to get some of it. It was a scary experience. I never got to throw the money. We had to be taken away in a patrol car for our own safety. This strange turn of events ended up being the biggest break in my career. The next day, the bizarre story ended up on the front page of the New York Times and thousands of other newspapers around the world. I was asked to be on all the talk shows, and it created a huge amount of publicity for the Learning Annex. It was amazingly good luck. I had expected to get some publicity from throwing the dollars from the building, but I never expected a huge front-page story. Because the bank robbery happened at the same time as our intended stunt, the Learning Annex got an incredible amount of publicity from the story, and the Learning Annex took off literally overnight, which gave me the cash flow I so sorely needed at that time. Luck can also come in the form of good timing. Right after I signed Donald Trump to do the first Wealth Expo, the first season of The Apprentice was aired on NBC. The publicity around that show was phenomenal. The ratings were through the roof, and everybody was talking about Donald Trump saying the infamous words, "You're fired." Donald Trump became a household name and was talked about at every office water cooler. The number of people who signed up to see the Donald in person at the first expo went through the roof. Obviously, it was great timing and great luck. But here's the most important point. I took the luck that was handed to me, and I ran with it. You may get only 1 or 2 lucky breaks like that in your life, and when you do, you have to run with it. The first Wealth Expo was a great success, yet many people were advising me to leave it at that. We made a lot of money, so why do another expo and risk losing all the profits we made? Why don't we stop there? But I knew one thing from past experience. Once you have a stroke of luck, you should keep it going. I decided to immediately go out and schedule 20 more expos in every major city in America. Likewise, Steve Jobs turned his work into amazing luck. He was motivated to build the first personal computer, and wanted to sell computers to the general public like Motorola sold TVs. He got together with partner Steve Wozniak and sold his Volkswagen van and Hewlett-Packard programmable calculator for $1,350. Using that money, Jobs worked day and night to build the first Apple computer. After taking on this amazing challenge, he went from college dropout to the person who started the boom in personal computers that changed all our lives. Look for something that stimulates you to stretch yourself beyond your normal limits. Then you must work on improving your skills every day and never quit. In just about every field, people learn quickly at first, and then after a while, they stop learning. Only a few people keep on improving for years and decades, the ones we call great. Winston Churchill is one of the greatest orators of the 20th century. People believe that he was born that way, but the truth is, he practiced his speeches over and over until he got them right. Bobby Fischer became a chess grandmaster at age 16. A child prodigy? Hardly. Fischer practiced intensively for 9 years before winning his title. Tiger Woods became the youngest winner ever of the U.S. Amateur Championship at age 18. He practiced for a solid 15 years to get there. Use your work as your practice. Always try to improve on your performance. Don't be satisfied to simply get the job done. Aim to improve. If you're a web designer, with every job you do, be more creative. If you write financial reports, strive to top yourself by doing better research, analysis, and presentation with each project. It's the same for engineers, accountants, management consultants, lawyers, teachers, physicians, psychologists, inventors, poets, musicians, builders, and entrepreneurs. Use your work to better yourself. You'll get recognized. Make every day extraordinary, no matter what your job is. Work is hard enough without putting forth extra effort. Most people do their jobs on remote